Hey everybody, happy Thursday, tutorial Thursday noon lunchtime tutorial stream. Hope everyone is doing great today wherever you are out there on the internet. I'm so happy to be joining you back with lunchtime tutorials after a couple of weeks off, and today we are doing this one. This is our tablet earrings, and yes, I have no idea why. Hi Lori! I have no idea why that photo is so incredibly low resolution, and yet there it is. So what are we going to need to make these earrings today? And this is a repeat class. We have done this on stream before, but it's sometimes really nice to kind of revisit some of our older classes and some things that are really simple techniques that will turn out really nicely for you. So what do you need to do these earrings? You're going to need some sheet metal. Doesn't matter what metal, sterling silver, gold filled, brass, bronze, copper, all will work. You want 24 gauge sheet metal, and you just need enough surface area of sheet metal to make your earrings. In addition to your sheet metal, you are going to need some 24 or 26 gauge wire. I'm using gold filled today. That's going to depend on what size wire will fit through your beads. You are going to need beads as well, and I'm going to use these guys, the little ones in here, these really pretty little gray pearls. Also, it would be really cool if I put my lights on, wouldn't it? So you can actually see what's going on. So I'm going to use the smaller pearls in this dish. You could really use any beads, it's just a question of how many. And I will say that flatter beads work better for this project than, you know, spherical beads, because they will sit rather far out from your earring piece. You are also going to need, and I know I got them, I really did get them, I swear. Okay, well, they're either going to turn up or not, but you're going to need a pair of ear wires, because of course that's what we need to make a pair of functional earrings. Whatever, if they don't turn up, I'll go grab some from over there. As far as tools go, you're going to need your basic wire wrapping setup. So that's going to be a chain nose pliers, or in this case I have a flat nose pliers. Sometimes they're interchangeable, sometimes they're not. You're going to need a wire cutter, and you're going to need a round nose pliers. You're also going to need a chasing hammer and a bench block, or bench block equivalent, something that is very dense upon which you can hammer your metal. You're going to need a metal shears, that's for cutting your metal. You also could use a saw if you didn't have a metal shears. You're going to need a dividers. Sorry y'all for the background noise. And you're going to need a drill or a hole punch. So my hole punch got broken, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Dremel drill for this today. So I'm going to start by marking out where I'm going to cut. And this is where your dividers come in handy. So just raise that up a bit. Let's see. Don't need the other cam. Let's go ahead and see if we can focus this a little bit better. So how is everybody's Thursday going? Just out of curiosity, is everyone doing well? Anything exciting going on? Well, Lori, that definitely sounds exciting. And Susan, I'm glad you're doing well. We miss you. We will be happy when we get to see you again. Okay, so I'm going to use my dividers to mark out my little rectangular cuts. So first of all, I'm going to figure out where, because I really can't use this edge because it has this cut already in it. Alright, I'm just going to be crazy. I'm going to use this edge. So, well, hi Fenris, welcome to the stream. How's everything with you? Welcome to the lunchtime tutorial stream. Okay, so these are dividers. These are a really useful tool if you need to, you know, make a consistently thick piece of metal, consistently wide, I think is actually a better way to say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dividers, and I feel like this is a terrible idea, what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to grab a better surface, something that's actually flat. Okay, so what have you been... Yay, Sharon, that's awesome! I cannot wait to see it. And, Fenris, what were you doing that you're a bit sore? I'm curious. I know I was definitely sore when I got back from Denver from slinging, bags of gemstones over my shoulder for 5 days. Oof. And the altitude, so now that I'm a little bit more, I'm older, I'm less in shape, and I've got some extra padding. The altitude in Denver affects me way more than it used to. So that was unexpected. I was out of breath for like 5 whole days. Not fun. Started working again. Okay, so remind me, what do you do? Because I will admit that I don't remember. And that was for Fenris. Okay, so I'm going to take my dividers, and I'm just going to bring them down. And what I want to do is not what I just did. I want to keep them, and I just want to... Yeah, okay, so the joys of... Thursday night. We're going to use this instead. Ooh! Carpentry sounds... awesome. Okay, so I'm going to drag my dividers down the edge, and there we go. So as long as you pick a straight edge instead of a wackadoo edge like I did here, you're going to get a nice straight line. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that line with my metal shears. I mean, carpenter sounds like fun if you like to work with your hands, but yes, if you've not been doing that for a while, then yes, I can totally see how one could get sore from all of that lifting, toting, moving, bending, handling of, you know, tools and such. You know, it's weird. Like, I never thought that I had to be in shape for my job as a bead store owner until the pandemic, and then post-pandemic, when we're starting to go back to what we used to do. And I used to run around so much, like just classes and customers and parties and whatnot. Like, I was just constantly pinging around, and now when I do that, I'm like, oh my God, this is exhausting. How did I used to do this? The answer, of course, was I trained for it. I trained for it for 15 years. But now I'm out of practice. So it's gonna be a fun road back. Fun is definitely in air quotes. Wow, yeah, that's definitely enough time for your body to forget just what in the heck it needs to do. Alright, so we're going to cut this piece in half, because of course 2 earrings makes 2 ears. So here's a trick that I use when I've got, so what I have here is I've got 1 7/8 inches of metal. So division is not my strong point, so what I do to cheat when I'm doing this is I'll just move it so that my metal is now splitting the eighths at each end, and then I can go straight for the middle, which is there at the 1. And that works for me. Again, don't try building any buildings or doing any kind of microsurgery using that method, because that is absolutely a jacked up method. But like I said, it works for me, and it's easier for my brain than doing the maths. So we're going to go ahead and trim that. So now I have 2 pieces of 24 gauge metal in a rectangular shape. You know, I didn't even measure, Lori. So let's see. The metal currently is 1/2 inch. It's almost precisely 1/2 inch, which is funny because I was just twiddling with my dividers and just like set them at this length. Now you do need to, if you're setting your dividers at a particular length, you need to make sure that you set them a little bit wider than your desired length, because you are going to lose a bit because they're riding on the outside of the metal. So yeah, these rectangles are 1/2 inch wide and they are 7/8 of an inch long. Now it's time to finish our edges, because at this point I would be extremely hesitant about running my finger up the edges of my metal, because they're extremely sharp and really have a great chance of cutting you. Not an ideal feature in a piece of jewelry. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on softening these edges so that you can touch them and they're not going to lacerate you. I'm going to start with my chasing hammer. Chasing hammer is the hammer that is convex for hammering metal and wire, but what we're actually going to use at this point is the round side of the chasing hammer. If you don't have a chasing hammer, a ball peen hammer will work just as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my chasing hammer and I'm going to strike right along all of the edges, and my goal is going to be to strike basically half on, half off the edge so that I create a beveled surface. So it's going to be a little loud for a minute on the Beading Dream Stream. If you want to turn me down, go ahead and do that now. 3, 2, 1, and here I go. Alright, and there we go. Now we have beveled edges, and if they don't feel completely smooth after you've beveled them with the hammer, just go ahead and grab your fine steel wool. This is quadruple zero steel wool, and just go ahead and scrub your edges a little bit. And what your steel wool should do is it should give you an edge that is smooth and very easy on the fingers. Now I'm going to repeat for my other one. Okay, and once again, if your edges don't feel super smooth after the hammering, you can just go ahead and just real quick steel wool them. But the hammering really does do a lot. That beveling of the edges makes a huge difference. Alright, there we go. So now I have 2 metal plates that are beveled on the edges. And don't worry so much, you know, if you've got Sharpie or anything on your metal, it'll come right off with rubbing alcohol, no big deal. Okay, so now I'm going to mark my holes for my bead attachment, and then I'm going to drill them. So you can eyeball this or you can measure it. As we all know, I'm pretty much a fan of eyeballing, so I think that's what I'm going to do. You don't want to drill too close to the edge, so I'm going to put one there, and then I'm going to put one there. Okay, and that's where I'm going to drill my holes for my wire attachment. Now, if you have a hole punch, you could just punch at each of those dots, but if you have a drill, which I have, you would... I'm going to go ahead and use this. So we're just going to go ahead and put that over the hole, and it doesn't really matter what drill bit you use. I'm using a pretty big one today. I'm using a 52, but anything that's big enough to fit your wire is going to work. This was just the first one that I grabbed. So turn on my rotary tool, and then I'm just going to drill the hole. Alright, and this is, for anyone who's new to rotary tools, this is something that happens a lot, where you see how my piece has caught and is just kind of spinning around on my rotary tool. That happens a lot. If that happens, do not try and grab it while your rotary tool is still going, because it will literally slice through your finger, okay? Stop your rotary tool and then pull it off. If you have a flex shaft, it's a little bit easier because you can actually just take your foot off the pedal. Alright, so I got my second hole, which is going to be right there. Alright, so I got 2 holes on that one. I'm going to do 2 holes on the other one. See, I let go of it, and there it goes again. Okay, but look, case in point, look at this. Do not try and grab it while it's moving. You will regret it. You may end up in the hospital. Okay, come on. Let's be safe, people. Last one. The more firmly you hold it down to your drilling block, the less likely it is that's going to happen, by the way. Nope, off. I said off. Okay, so now I have 4 holes, 2 in each. And then I need 2 more holes in each for my ear wires. And those are going to be closer to the top than the ones I just made. So let's see. I think I have more room here. So I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. One more time with the drill. Alright, and then we're done with the drilling. And once again, if you have a hole punch, you can absolutely hole punch those as well. You don't have to drill them if you don't have a drill. Now, I will also note that when your piece gets picked up and flung around by your drill, the way that I showed you earlier, it tends to make scratches on your metal. So that's another reason that you really want to try and avoid that. And once again, by holding your piece firmly down to your drilling surface, that's how you keep that from happening. So now it's time to add our beads. I'm going to grab my 24 gauge gold filled wire, and I'm really going to need to go get my ear wires. That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to grab my 24 gauge gold filled wire, and I'm just going to cut myself about a foot. And I'm not really measuring this precisely, so it is approximately 12 inches of wire. Really kind of depends on how sort of wild and crazy you want to get with your wrapping. And then I'm going to take my beads, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to string onto my wire enough beads to go from here to here. So this hole to this hole. This hole's for the ear wire right here, so we're not worrying about that right now. So I'm going to guesstimate that it's 3. It might be 4. We're going to see in a minute. And I do want to position those beads right in the middle of the wire. And that is, I think, just about right. Spans those two holes quite handily. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take my beads, and I'm just going to bend my wire down against the holes of my beads so that I get that. And then I'm going to put the 2 ends of my wire down through the 2 holes in my piece of metal. And just pull everything firmly, and you may need to give it a little bit of a press to make sure that it's flat. And there we go. That's our beaded embellishment. Now I'm going to take each of these wires, and I'm going to wrap the bottom wire around beneath the pearls. as many times as I can go. So that's going to be it for that. And then I'm going to take the top wire. I'm going to do the same thing. And then you'll notice I'm left with two kind of poking out ends. So I'm going to grab my flat pliers, grab my ends, and I'm just going to take them, put a little bit of tension on them, and then bring them underneath. And what that tension is going to do is it's really going to kind of cement this bend here so that it's going to stay. And then once I get underneath, I can just kind of press that down in amongst the other wires. And I just want to make sure that I don't feel anything poking when I run over that with my finger. You do the same thing with the other wire. We're going to pull, rotate, press down, and make sure you don't feel anything stabby. And that is earring number 1. Earring number 2 is going to work the same. So I'm going to once again take another foot of my 26 gauge wire. Now I have determined that 3 beads is the correct number of beads. So I'm going to put 3 beads on here. Again, take your 3 beads, pull them to the middle of your wire, and then bend down. So you have 3 beads basically sitting on your wire like so. Then you're going to take those 2 ends of wire, put them down through the holes in your, what size are you looking for? Color. The rest of your order should be arriving today. For some reason it didn't ship till yesterday. Alright, so put those down through those 2 holes like so. Pull it nice and tight, and once again, you probably want to press down on these pearls, because otherwise what's going to happen is the center one's going to kind of pop out like you can see it's trying to do now. We really want them to be, it's going to look better if they're more kind of flat up against. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and take this wire and we're going to wrap it around until we run out of wire. Make sure you don't obstruct this hole, because this one here, because that's for your ear wire. And then take your bottom one and do the same. Oh, thank you, Lori. I did. I slept well, and at this point I am on absolutely no medication. I'm not on any decongestant or cough suppressant, so yes, I'm doing so incredibly much better today. Thank you all so much for your sweetness on the stream last night. Y'all were really great. But yes, slept like a rock with lots of vitamin C in my system, and yes, so much better today. Alright, now we're going to, okay, so I want my ends to be on the back here, so this one's not long enough to go all the way around and then back to the back, neither is this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim them off, both of those. And then take my chain nose, or in this case my flat nose, and just press them down. So I just want to make sure with these ends that they're not, you know, gonna stab anybody. I did not do a good job of on here. So around and push. Alright, so that is tablet earring number 2. And now all we have to do is put our ear wires on. This is such a simple, easy project, except for the fact that, of course, I've lost my ear wires. So I'll be right back. I swear I got ear wires. Like, I remember walking over to the store and getting ear wires, but I have no idea what. Okay, so now I've got ear wires. And I just have my simple ones, which are my faves. So when you're opening an ear wire, what you're going to do is you're going to take your flat pliers, you're going to grab next to the ear wire, and you're just going to push away. So that what I've done is I've created an opening. See, that's an opening in my ear wire, but I haven't really messed up the circle of it, and that's going to make it so much easier to get it back in place and looking good. So we're going to go ahead and just drop our earring component onto that, and we're going to close it up. When we close it up, we want to make sure that it's completely closed, and that is earring number 1. And then again, open, drop your component on, like so. Close it up, and that's earring number 2, and that's it. That's literally it. This is such a fun project, especially if you're like, holy crap, I need a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or a whatever gift, like right freaking now. I mean, it's literally a 15-minute project if you have all the supplies on hand. So that is our tablet earrings, folks. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me on the Beading Dreams lunchtime stream for the tablet earring class. I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas, and I will be back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, this evening with a soldering tutorial. We're going to be doing semi-handmade tonight. That means I'm going to be teaching you how to take already made sterling silver castings, charms, earrings, etc., and combining them into a finished piece of jewelry. So come back for that on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to go have a great day at the Beading Dream store now, and I will see you all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, this evening at 6. Thanks, y'all. See you tonight.